only thing I want is to exorcise and eradicate from my psyche every belief, assumption, thought, aspiration, dream, hope, and moral principle I have been taught or imbibed in my entire life. They don't work. They have led me to this. I hate them. I abhor every person and institution that has brainwashed or indoctrinated me into believing them. I hate myself for buying into this bullshit. I want to replace it all as fast and as permanently as I can with whatever long-haired, counterculture, freakazoid, Mr. Natural doctrine and belief system I can derive.
One of the hardest pills I have had to swallow throughout my journey has been that if I want to heal, or make any significant change for that matter, I don't get to bring anyone along with me for the ride. If you were waiting for others to understand, figure it out, or join you, it ain't ever gonna happen. A good portion of my life I have spent attempting to drag others along with me, whether or not they actually want to come. I have tried and tried to save and fix people, which has basically served to create resentments and also to prevent me from making any lasting progress of my own. At some point, I began to realize that if I wanted to make a change that was capable of enduring the ups and downs of life, I would have to do it on my own, whether or not anyone else understood or joined me. This holds true for any meaningful change we want to make, especially the ones that fall outside of what is socially acceptable. These changes include the ones that are primarily based within our own minds, the story we tell ourselves, for instance, as well as the ones that markedly change the manner in which we function in this world. Whether it be changing your beliefs about chronic pain and illness, changing your relationship with alcohol and other drugs, adopting a more health and environmentally conscious way of being in the world, or deciding to take the road less traveled, effectively plotting a course that has not been previously ordained within the myth of normalcy that permeates every inch of our toxic culture, it is likely that you will be met with resistance and/or outright disapproval from those you come in contact with. The truth is, it is hard for people to sympathize with the aspects of your journey that they do not understand. This is something we are best to accept. Don't go expecting a pat on the back or entertain some fairy tale notion that people are going to respond the way you might hope that they would. It will only set you up for disappointment, making your growth more painful than it already is. It is good to keep in mind that an earlier version of ourselves would have had just as much trouble understanding our current selves as anyone else. If I am being completely honest, my previous self wouldn't have given the new me the time of day. My sports injuries and chronic pains are almost always rooted in repressed emotions. Yeah, okay. Sobriety is awesome. Fuck off. My actions and behaviors have an impact on my health and well-being, as well as implications for the environment in which I live. Outrageous! Back then, I was fine, or so I thought I was, with my worldview, and no one had the right to tell me any different. Well, nowadays, I seem to be on the other side of the fence on many of these issues, and have to frequently remind myself of this when I start to become either arrogant or overly prideful. These are the times when I have had to come to terms with just how alone it is actually possible to feel. Loneliness has little to do with whether or not we are in the physical presence of other people. Loneliness is what we feel when we believe that no one understands us, that there is no one who can relate to the experience that we are having. If a man knows more than others, he becomes lonely, wrote the mystic and psychoanalyst Carl Jung, when describing the lot of an individual who is pushing towards the outer limits of what is currently understood and accepted within the culture and time they live. This is the inescapable reality for those of us who are dissatisfied with the status quo and seek to expand our own horizons. I had the feeling that I had pushed to the brink of the world. What was of burning interest to me was null and void for others, and even a cause for dread. Carl Jung, Memories, Dreams, and Reflections. I have been blessed in that I didn't have to wait long before some of those closest to me opted to come along for this difficult and tumultuous journey. Just when I had come to grips with going this thing alone, facing the fact that I may be in it alone for the long haul, folks started climbing aboard. I have found that this doesn't necessarily make things suddenly smooth and easy, for whether or not we have people who agree with us, we still have to face ourselves. This facing of ourselves is a solo endeavor no matter how you look at it. But for having people around who I can openly communicate with, and with whom I hold nothing back, I am immensely grateful. At any given time, there are countless others working through the same life struggles and difficulties that we are. There are people out there that are further along the path than us, ready and willing to support and lift us up. There are others that we can perform this function for as well. Sometimes we have to allow ourselves to get outside of our comfort zone and venture into the unfamiliar. It is here that we will find that we aren't as alone as we thought we were after all. A definition of psychotic: abnormal thinking and perceptions. But you can't deny your inner truth just because it happens to be psychotic at a cultural moment in history. Because what is psychotic at one moment is sainthood at another. Ram Dass. Believe it or not, I have grown and evolved a bit since the time this was originally written, and am increasingly coming to find that it is not about being the victimized loner, but about learning to trot our own paths as true as possible, no matter what the world may be trying to convince us of. I am learning that it is not my job to wake people up, nor is it my job to protect people's sacred belief systems and illusions. No one will ever understand me, and this is okay. It doesn't mean that they aren't trying, and it certainly doesn't mean that they don't love me. Shit, much of the time I cannot even begin to fathom myself, let alone understand anyone else, though I am learning to stay open-minded and not fall into the trap of thinking I know what is best. I recently heard that you cannot survive the spiritual path without intimacy. I feel this is true. We need the Sangha every bit as much as we need quiet, contemplative time to ourselves. For this reason, I may have to write the sequel to this blog and title it, You Mustn't Go It Alone. If the experience conveyed in this video hit home for you, please check out the full blog from which it came. Links to the audio and written versions will be provided in the description. Namaste.
Tell me what you know about the unknown. Show me what you've seen and what you've been shown. Or are you still sitting on that big throne? Tell me how you feel when you're all alone. Tell me what you know about the unknown. Show me what you've seen and what you've been shown. Or are you still sitting on that big throne? Tell me how you feel when you're all alone.